So, welcome everybody.
Oh,
This is
Welcome.
very
Hi.
hello. This is
uh,
uh not an entry level workshop. This is kind of an intermediate workshop. So, we're I forgot to mention you would need Milkshape and you would need the the anim plugins for it. Uh, but it assumes that you have basic knowledge of pose making. I think most folks here do. So, uh, essentially what I'm covering today. Uh, One, we're going to see making a custom body shape template because a lot of my poses I don't make them for AM or AF. I make them for other sizes. So using the default templates isn't going to be accurate. Is it? Well, the end of pose might vary because the wrong size template is used. But anyway, body shapes. The second thing, we're going to make poses using two or more sims. The third thing, we're going to show you how to extract an object template for the purpose of creating poses. And finally, we're going to make poses with furniture and or objects. It's essentially the same process. So we got up to that point.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So then I'm gonna fire up my milkshake.
Um, Venon had commented maybe extract the object first because it's the fastest one on the list.
Uh, okay. We can. I mean, I suppose we can do
I,
that.
I don't know what is fastest because I only do singular solo poses. That's all I ever used milkshake for.
Okay. So we go to Object Workshop, and this is. I mean, it's essentially just for the GMDC. We're not. We don't really care about the object. We're not doing anything with it. We just need that basic shape so that we can create poses.
So
Okay.
this is for like if you're doing poses on chairs
Yeah, a
or
chair or a sofa or a bed or what
a
have you.
sofa. Okay,
So
gotcha.
we go seating, and where did it go? Was looking for a recliner because I don't have like a beach chair, like an Adirondack or something. Uh, is it recreation? Yeah. Okay, that one's cool. And the scene graph name doesn't really matter, so we just click OK. And I have a special folder for this because I came prepared. Just like that. And we go to the GMDC. Make sure that only the chair subset is selected. I'll preview this so you can see what you're looking at.
Mhm.
And then we go export. And if you want to follow along, go ahead and do it yourself. And I have left some pre-made or pre-extracted templates in the workshop thread.
Oh, cool. Go grab these.
I think I've got a bed and a living chair, a couple of tables, so whatever you feel like doing. Do you want to look at posing with an I'm sorry, posing the sim with an object with furniture first? Since we've already
I think that'd
extracted
be
the
good.
mesh? Okay, so go ahead and open your template. just like so. And then we import okay, wavefront object, and I'm going to go ahead and grab that recliner. Okay, then we go into animation mode. We just click the anim button on the bottom right. Now, very important, do not mess with AU scale. That's what causes the bendy legs. And also very important, there is one translate joint, root trans. Don't translate any of the other joints and don't rotate that one. Okay, so we just select root trans, we move. I don't want to move it up and down, so we eliminate the y-axis. Then we just scoot the dude out to here and off over to the side a little. About there. Now we don't want the z-axis, and we move him down to about where his butt is at the level of the recliner. Okay? Then we go here. Click root rot. This rotates the entire body. And this is important. This messed me up for a while. So if you want a sim at 90 degrees to the angle of the object, you're only going to rotate the root joint about 45. Then what we do, we grab spine 0 and we rotate the rest of the way. And then we go down to the pelvis and we rotate it the rest of the way. Okay, so now we've done a very rough pose. So we're going to work out the smaller joints. So we hop back over to the model tab. With the rotate button selected, we make sure that the local radio dial is selected, because that affects the way that the smaller joints are rotated. So select one of the thighs, rotate that up a little bit. Then we do one of the calves. Whoa. And a calf. Okay. Rotate that down. Do that. Do one of those. Then we hop back up to the calf here, and we do a little man spreading. Just we don't want a stiff looking pose. We want something that's a little more natural. Okay?
So I have a question. Going back to that 90-degree thing. So you don't pull the whole body 90 degrees. You have to pull the spine and then the pelvis so it works, right?
You would first rotate root rot 45
Uh-huh.
degrees. And then you would rotate spine 0 45 and the spine 0 the remaining 45 and the pelvis the remaining 45. If you try to do it all with root rot, it's
Huh?
your sim is not going to align with the object. I don't know why it does that, but
Interesting.
just from personal experience, this is how to do it correctly. Okay, so we
Okay.
need to scoot him back a little bit. So I'm going to lock the y-axis, move him back to about the middle of the chair here. And is his leg clipping into the arm of the chair at all? No. Let's take him out and down a little bit. Okay, and so now Oh, sorry. We got to go back to rotate. And now we have to take, because by moving the root joint down, the thighs are now a little bit underground. So we just want to make sure that they're above the line there. And this is just a rough pose. I'm not trying for perfection here, so that's pretty good. So now, okay, now this is a little bit funky because we rotated the spine 45, it does kind of strange things. So we have to rotate it forward this way first, and then this way. Till he looks, that's a little bit too far. So we go back. That looks pretty good. Just give his neck a little twist. Move his head forward. And then we're just going to do something roughly with the arms. No, I didn't want to do that. So we move it down to the side. Then we rotate the forearm a little. And I want it to be a little bit horizontal. Okay, so we just scoot the elbow in. And that's starting to clip into his thighs, so we need to come up some. And that's a little too far. I don't like that. Okay. So now we just want the hand. This is also kind of important. We want it to look kind of natural. You know, we don't. I hate how most creators leave those really stiff-looking kung fu hands. So we just. Yeah, you've seen them.
Yeah,
You
just
you know what
relax
I'm
the wrist.
talking about.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, yeah. They're really unnatural looking. So
I
what I
actually
like to
really
do,
like messing with the fingers in milkshape, like doing like delicate
yeah,
finger curls and stuff.
I hate thumbs honestly because it doesn't look like this
No,
when you apply the
yeah,
pose. But all of
the,
the other fingers are relatively easy to pose.
yeah,
So we
thumbs
just
are a pain.
yeah. Well, if you're posing it with an accessory, like if you're trying to get the thumb so it looks like it's naturally wrapped around a shovel or a hammer or something, that takes time. It's like a trial and error thing. You have to articulate it, replace it in the pose box, and then go back and test it again, make a note of which way it moved, and then articulate it again. Oh, we didn't move the zero joint, that's why. Okay, so we do that. Okay, so he's just kind of relaxing on his recliner. So now we're going to do about the same thing with the left hand. Rotate that up just a little. And then we want that a little bit more horizontal. And let's relax that hand. We go to the thumb joint. No, that's wrong. You learn from experience that when you have it set on local, if you rotate say the index 0, any of the 0 joints on the fingers in on this axis, it bends naturally. But if you Like one of them, it just displays like this axis, it displays the fingers, and no, this axis displays the fingers, and this axis just it makes them look wrong. So you learn through experience which axis to rotate them on. So if I'm going through this quickly, it's because I know what I'm doing. Okay, so yeah, that looks like a natural pose. He's just kind of chilling on his beach chair, maybe asking the waitress to bring him some drinks. So we go animate, set keyframe. And we save that as an MSD, and I'm just going to go recliner. Okay, but I want to make note that this is an HBB skeleton. So if you did it on just regular Maxis, he doesn't have those meaty thighs, so his forearms would probably be floating. Okay, so we just save, and then we go File, Export, and we scroll down to Sims 2, Animesh Anim Exporter. Now here, you can make the name as long as you want, but don't add spaces. Separate it with dashes. So I'm going to go just like that. Then we export it, and we're all good. Okay, any questions up to this point? Do you have any comments in the chat, Rachel?
It's just talking about like did you saying she always hides the skeleton, pick the joints from joints list, choose what she's moving, just makes it easier to see. Venom said the stream was moving choppy. We had a little bit of choppiness, but I don't know if it's too just I could still follow along.
Okay. Yeah,
And
that's too bad.
then
I don't know if it's
Julie J.
just my internet or the
It might be
stream
your
in general.
connection. Or the server.
Am
And
I
then Julie said she was gonna try posing with an accessory next.
okay? Yeah, I have.
So that would be the same. Would that be the same kind of technique where you import a waveform like an accessory?
Accessories
Or is that
are
different?
a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
The issue is that one way or another, you essentially have to glue the accessory to the skeleton before you make the
Okay.
pose. Right? So
Okay.
you would have to say it's a baseball bat. You would have to assign that to one of the hands before you articulate the pose around it.
Interesting. They're saying it's okay for them now, and I'm not getting choppiness either.
Okay, so let's move along. So we go File, New, and then where did it go? This is a technique for creating a custom animation skeleton. So you can either load up an outfit or start with one of Dr. Pixel's original. Was it Dr. Pixel? Yeah,
It
I
was
believe it
Dr.
was
Pixel.
Dr. Pixel created these. But you would just load up one of these regular templates, and then what we're going to do is just get rid of all of the vertices below the neck. Just like that. So you can You can import it from an outfit as a 5GD, or you can do it as you can import WSOs. So I'm going to go with WSO.
I have a quick question, and this is a very dumb question. What does WSO stand for?
I honestly don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's a file format that you use with what do you call it? I always forget the name of it. This thing here, Mesh Toolkit. Is essentially it works. It works like a Photoshop action, but in 3D. So you have an AF outfit,
Huh.
and you want to convert it
Okay.
to um, random size fashion model. Okay, so you load the outfit, and then you load the template to convert from AF to fashion model. You run the action, and it basically just pulls the vertices to where they need to be. But what's cool about WSOs is that they work for this technique. So if you have let's just do Volgal because that's easy. So we're taking Lifa's Volgal model, and then we don't need this one that says group base. So what we can do, we grab the head, we'll grab the body, we regroup, and let's just rename it Volgal. And so now if you needed this body shape to make a custom pose, you could just use this template. So I go
Huh.
save as, and we change the name to Volgal template.
So in recap, what you did was you opened just the regular adult female body from Dr. Pixel, grabbed all the vertices below the neck, deleted it, and then imported the WSO for the Vogal, and it
Yes.
just popped in there, right? Okay.
Yes, another, well, let me, I didn't want to do that. Let me show you another way that you can do this. So let's go back to the neck. And then uh, the only way I can do it without closing it is to open another instance of Milkshape. Now I don't remember where I put it. Okay, so
So Julie was wondering if this could be done on the Sims 2 rig in Blender, and
that I'm not sure
she
of.
said we toyed with Blender posing with my friends, and she was more comfortable with it than Milkshape. I don't think we found a way to export as pose files directly. We did get it in some format. We could then move to Milkshape and export it from there, though, but I don't remember what exactly we did since it was years ago. And honestly, I've never touched Blender in my life, so I don't know anything about
I
it.
honestly don't know. Okay, so what is this? This is a CPU underwear mesh. So we go File, Export, and this time we're exporting it as the 5GD format. That's the one that goes directly into your GMDC. So we go Export, and we want to go here. Okay, so we saw how to do it with a WSO. Now we're going to see how to do it with a 5GD. We'll go import Sims 2 Unimesh import, just as you normally would. If you import over another model, results will be unreliable. So we go okay. Do you want to include additional bone definitions? No, absolutely not. Then we just grab that body, regroup. No, didn't want to do that. I want to save it. So we're just going to save this one as CPU template. Okay, so we're clear how to make templates for custom body shapes.
WSOs, those are actual file downloads you can get for each body shape.
Yeah, yeah. I've made probably half a dozen. I think Julie has some. Leafa has made a whole bunch, and the girl who discovered the technique, Mayfair, I don't think that she's active any longer, but she made a bunch of like age conversion ones to go from like AF to TF,
Oh, nice. Okay.
or I think
That's
adult to elder
interesting.
as well. Yeah, it's a really cool technique, and actually, my next workshop, I think that's going to be the subject of it. Okay, so moving on. Let's start all over again. And this time, I'm just going to open up my regular HBB template. And because I selected this on a beach lot, I just wanted to do something kind of fun. So we click the animate, and then in rotate, we make sure that we've got local selected. So we just crank up his leg a little bit here, then bend the calf a little, bend the foot a little. That actually might be a bit much. Okay, and then we do the right one as well. That's just a little bit under the line, so we're going to rotate the foot up. Maybe. No, that's wonky. We turn the hip in a little bit, so we're trying to go for like a natural running motion. We don't want to overdo it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, then so I can do the arms without messing them up. And a good way to keep arms symmetrical is to rotate one joint and then rotate the same joint on the other arm. So we're just gonna so we need to find right forearm, rotate it about the same. Then we jump way up to right upper arm. And see the tricky part about upper arms, if you bend it and then rotate it this way, it puts this really strange kind of torsion on the joint, and it's hard to balance that out. So then we do the same with the left, and that's actually a little bit more closed than I was originally thinking. So maybe we do one of those. We move that out about here. Yeah, and that's still not doing what I want it to do. Shoulders are kind of finicky. It has to look kind of, yeah, see, that's not going to work. It has to look kind of natural, but you don't want to put an excessive twist on it. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do. Sims are just not bendy as people in real life.
Usually, when I have trouble with shoulders, I end up messing with the clavicles, the in and
Yeah,
out, for like forward and backward of the clavicles, trying to make it look natural.
yeah, I do too. I mean, you kind of have to split the rotation between the clavicle joint and
Hmm.
the upper arm.
Upper arm.
So for now, we're going to save this as an MSD. It's nowhere near complete, but we need the other sim imported into it
Hmm.
to make it look like a natural pose. So we go just save it at like that. And then with the keyframe still set, we're going to go File, Export as an OBJ. Just yes, ignore the warning. No. Okay, so ideally, it should have exported in that pose. So we jump over to Rio. Yeah, there it is. Oh, we animate. Then we grab the root rod, and we want sorry, we want to make sure that the Z is locked this time, the Z axis. So we do that. Well, no, we don't, because she kind of needs to be back behind his head. Okay. Select rotate. And we move that calf down a little. And we do that. And her thighs are clipping into his head, so we have to fix that. So we rotate those out, and the calves are still out a little bit. No. And we want kind of a natural bend in her spine so that it doesn't look like she's defying gravity. So Yeah, let's go with spine 0. So we tilt that forward just a little. Then maybe a little bit more bend in spine 1. And then have her head looking forward. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then we go down to her arms. Rotate that there. Then we bend her wrist a little bit. And we move her arm in. And then we move her hand in a little bit.
Is this a fight? Are they fighting?
No, she's like,
Oh.
it's, well, you'll see
She's
when I
like
actually
wrestling.
pose them. It's I don't know, just kind of a funny couple pose. Like
Oh, like
they're running, like he's running down the beach and she's covering his eyes so he can't see where he's going. Essentially,
okay.
that's
I was getting like
what I'm going for.
If
But
this was if this were a fight, it would not be family friendly.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking of
that's
like James Bond's any on a top like fight here. Oh, but no, I can see the beach thing too.
Because then we had choking, and now we have fighting. Yeah. Mm-mm.
okay. Yeah, it just takes. Uh, Especially if you're
The
working with
fingers are
two
very delicate.
sims. Yeah, you can overcorrect on the fingers, so just do them a little
Just a
bit at a time.
question.
Yes?
Just a question, if I may. When you do your poses, do you always account for the volume of clothes and hair?
I don't normally, but like if I don't normally
It's
load.
because most poses that you find in pose boxes, they always clip because they are always too close to the body, and I guess they don't account for the volume of clothes and hair.
They don't, not always. Uh, I mean
Yeah, that's a problem.
what I do, or my technique is, I will I will load the pose into a test pose box and actually test it out in the game, and then make any adjustments based on how the poses look.
Hmm. Yeah, makes sense. I usually fix it in Photoshop, but that's a different issue.
Yeah, I noticed that too, like the clipping. So like if you wanted to like account for that, would you just pull like the hands farther away from like the head if there was like if he had like hair
It just
that
it
was in,
it
past his head
depends
or
on the
something?
pose. I mean, you can either move the head back, or you can move the hands back away from the head. It depends on
Mhm.
how they're positioned, really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually looking pretty good. So yeah, family friendly poses are surprisingly not my jam. I don't do a whole lot of them. Okay, so let's make the thumbs look a little bit more natural.
I have a question. So sometimes I notice pose boxes, they're like configured, like the male pose is configured for a stretch skeleton like 1.05 or something. And like how would you account for that when you're pose making? Like if it was meant to be for like a height difference type thing.
Well, mm,
You don't have to. We can do that some other time, but I didn't
I
know if that was
normally
something.
don't. I mean, for me, the reason. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a part of it is because yes, there are natural heights, but I think a lot of it is. I think a lot of the reason why they stretch the skeletons in photos is to conceal shoddy pose making.
I actually need one of my characters is much longer than the male, is much taller than the female, and when I make poses for them, I usually put the male a little above the ground, and I'm making the pose. So in game, I just stretch him, and it usually works.
Oh,
Usually, not
that's
always.
You could
interesting.
That's what I
do
do, but I'm a
like a
noob.
teen. You could pose the female on a teen template and pose the male on a normal male template, and
That would work too. That would
yeah,
work too.
Huh.
that will
But I
probably
usually I
give you good
just put the
results.
male a little bit above the floor. So that's what I
That's
do.
an interesting. That's an interesting trick. I didn't even consider that.
I I scale the skeleton before I start the posing. That way you don't have to lift them off the ground. If you scale them to, let's say, 108%, then you know that in game you have to stretch them to 1.08.
So
I guess
I do that.
how do you scale them in the game? Like when
Yeah,
you
no, not in the game, in milkshake before the pose.
oh
Yeah,
a
but
thing.
that's a different thing. Let's stay on track for now.
sorry.
No worries. So a thing that you're probably going to want to do before you finish the pose, because this one we're almost done. You want to turn off the skeleton and then turn on the bone colors just to make sure that like none of the fingers are clipping into each other and that kind of thing, because fingers are notoriously difficult to see. So let's close that a little bit. Just rotate the zero joints in. How does that look? That looks better. Okay, so I think we're good to go here. So we go animate, set keyframe, save. Oh, and then, did not mean to do that. Go over to groups and we delete HBB. So now, let's animate again. We're only exporting the real model. And in this case, I just save it right over couple one. Now we're going to go ahead and this one is tutorial pose 2, Rio on shoulders. Save it like that. Then we go back to the HBB pose. And we import the obj. Just like that. Now we can see where her thighs are, so we can put his arms in the correct position. Actually, those shoulders are a bit high, honestly. It could stand to come down. And then that takes all of that weird torsion out of the joint. Yeah, that makes it look a lot better. That's not doing what I want it to. So let's try that. Yeah, that's not bad. That looks actually kind of natural.
Hmm.
Let me just scoot the forearm around a bit. No, no. Let's just move the hand. That's the easiest way to get it done. And that's looking really good. And you just do them a little bit at a time so that they're not clipping into her thigh. And see, his forearm still needs to come out a bit.
It feels like it's like sculpting in a way.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's really articulating a pose can be a bit tedious, honestly. It just takes time, and then you have to test and then fine tune it. Is that gonna do it? Yeah, that's better.
That looks good.
Yeah, now let's just fix the other arm. Think about there. And you don't, to be honest, you don't want it to look perfectly symmetrical because poses just naturally aren't that way, right? I mean,
Hmm.
you want it to be a little bit like everyone has a dominant and recessive side. So, I mean, most people are right-handed, so maybe maybe the right arm is a little bit higher or maybe it's a little bit further in. You don't want it to look like one side to be an exact mirror image of the other.
Hmm. That's a good tip because it could look,
Yeah.
more stiff that way.
Uh, what happened? Okay, there it is. Yeah, and then we just move the joints in. All the little finger joints. Okay, we good?
I can't see where I'm going. Eat sand.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking when I. that one needs to curl in just a little bit. Uh, so yeah,
Woo!
that actually looks pretty darn good.
It does. It looks natural. No clipping.
No, come on. Okay. So we export that. And I'm just going to name that one Pose-2 HBB running. Okay. Do we have any questions up to that point?
No questions. Chat right now is just talking about how they learned posing in the first place.
Yeah.
Which tutorials they found to learn
Well,
on.
the best one is going to be right there on my blog because I have
Is that in the
years of.
tutorial library or is that
Yes. The
okay?
tutorial library, it's Object Tutorials Advanced.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we've done that, just hop back over here. And so if you look in the resources that I uploaded, there's one called Test Pose Box 1.
Mhm.
So don't super need any of these anims. I should have deleted those before I uploaded. So we go add, and then we want to go all files. We grab these 3 anims that we just added, and it's going to add them as user-defined resources. So we shift select, hop over to the resource tab, and we make sure that these are animation resources. Looks like an animation resource. So now what we need to do is fix integrity. Do not rename the scene graph. We just click OK. And what that does, it assigns it unique instance and instance high numbers. So we save that like that.
So back to the 3 files that you added. One was the Rio, one was the huge bodybuilder. What was the third one?
The guy lounging on the recliner.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So I'm going to go with a new notepad. And then we short descending. And then select everything before underscore anim. And we're just copying these to a notepad, and I will show you why in a bit here. Okay, so now we jump to the string, the one that says anims adults. And here we go. That's the recliner pose. That's HBB. Didn't work. And that's Rio. So we commit the string resource, save, and then we go to the behaves.
One question: are the placeholders necessary for some?
No, this
Oh,
is a test pose box. It says
oh,
placeholder because normally where it says placeholder, this is something that I will plug into it to test. So it's just
okay.
keeping that position on the list essentially.
Thank you.
Okay, so we rename the file names of these three poses, and then I just want to go to my stop all function, and yes, the names of those are here. So we're good. And I just leave those open because I'm always adding and changing poses in this pose box. And then we go to the t-task, and starting at line 4, we go recliner, relax. Oh, sorry. I want it to show in the sub menu. So we go recliner, then dot, 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 and then slash, relax. And we go couple 1, dot, 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 slash, HBB running. And Rio on shoulders. Then finally, we're going to the T tab. So recline to relax. That aligns with the correct pose. Okay, so our pose box is done. We go to all right, let me scoot that up there. Oh, that's no good. So now go to story stuff. But this is the wrong game. We need to go to the game that's actually
Up in the
loaded.
right folder.
Yes. And we put it in story stuff. And because it already exists here, because it's a test pose box, I'm just going to overwrite what was there previously. So we should be good to go. Let's see what happens. And this is going to take a bit because I didn't take any content out of the folder. So it might take a good, 7-8 minutes to load. If there are any questions, fire away.
We don't have any questions, just commentary. Talking about the back to the tutorials. After you said you mentioned yours, Venom said Jason's goes more into depth if you already know what you're doing. For some newbies, it's kind of intimidating, I've been told. And Digi says, I wish I had Jason's tutorial to look at too when I wrote mine, since I could have added so many tiny notes everywhere. and we love understand what we're doing, instead of just saying do this, but we're like, why? So it's good to like explain, why things are the way they are, just for understanding's purposes.
Yeah, I mean the tutorials are good and well if you're an experienced creator and you know a bit about the process, but yeah, 100% it does not hurt to have someone there guiding you.
Because, like I said in chat, personally, I used Gigi's tutorial to like, first learn, and it was very beginner friendly in my opinion. And so that I used that as a base, and then I looked at yours to see like how you were suggesting to do it.
Yeah.
And I actually fixed my. I was having trouble like adding a picture to a pose box like way at the beginning. So I looked at yours and I figured out through yours how to add the picture. So it's
Yeah,
like
it doesn't
all these resources.
it's because most of the pose boxes out there, they're just cloned from the default Maxis pose box model, and it's mapped upside down.
Yeah,
And they just,
yeah.
I mean, it's frustrating that creators don't get that, but it's even more frustrating that Maxis did it wrong right off the jump.
I always thought I did something wrong when it was upside down, and then I realized, nope, it's just a mesh. Hey Jason, after we've tested this, can we maybe go back to the stop all poses path, I'm gonna call it, behavior? I'd like to know how you make that, so not just change it, but how it actually works.
Sure, absolutely. Right after we do the test here, I should have loaded my fraps. This might be a fun picture to take. Where was the beach? No, it was here. I created a subhood. Oh, there it is.
Does it say Disco Beach?
Yeah.
Disco Beach.
No, there was no. It was just.
Disco Beach as well.
It just. It just came to me. Oh, years and years ago. Probably about 25, 26 years ago. My brother-in-law and I went to Acapulco just for like 5 or 6 days, and that was one of our favorite bars there. And yeah, this is a hood that I just added today for the purpose of testing, so needed a name off the top of my head.
Cubes.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, with that dress, his head's gonna disappear.
Oh yeah, like
No, I mean
that
it's
stretch.
like I already
Oh, you already
preloaded the
tested it.
family and changed them into swimwear
Oh good. Okay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's
because
one
yeah, it
way.
would definitely clip with that dress.
Yeah, I like that dress.
Yeah, that's one of MDPs, but I
Oh,
made it Rio sized.
all right. I'll download that later.
I'll throw up the link after we're done here.
Oh, thanks, Jason.
Okay, so we have a couple at the beach, and I added this resource onto the workshop thread. It's essentially it's like an OMSP but for posing multiple sims. So we just go move objects on, then we go over here, and I have different pose boxes in this one. It's this one here. It says tutorial pose box. So we stack her on the TMSP, we stack him on the TMSP, and then,
Is this one TMSP?
yes.
Like, okay.
Okay, check this out. So it has 10 slots in it, so you can stack 10 different sims on the slot if you're doing a group pose.
Oh, that's handy. Where did you make this?
Yes.
Where do we get it?
It's on the
350.
workshop thread,
Oh,
and
I mean, like,
I
like, was it
can,
available before this
yes,
workshop? Oh,
yes,
okay.
I will add the link. So we go couple 1, Rio on shoulders. Why? What is it doing there? I mean, why is she so freaking?
Low.
That's not right. Oh.
Huh.
Okay, that's working right. What the heck? Oh, you know what I think what I think might have happened?
You move her with rotate.
I moved the rotate instead of the translate.
Yeah.
Because see, she's forward too.
So,
She's way forward from where she needs to be.
No, see, this is good. Errors. You move her with rotate instead of trans. So in milk shape, it's gonna look great, but when you move it in the pose, she will not have moved.
Yeah. Okay, well, we can live with that.
yeah, like if I was in a hurry, I'd just take her and put her on a separate block and then shift it up.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, I mean, that's a quick fix if you just need a pose in a hurry for.
Yeah.
But I would. Let's show you how to do that the right way. So no, I don't want her. I want him. So I just go stop all poses. And then we're looking for a recliner. Now this one, I'm sure that I got it right. So let's just do one of those Adirondack beach chairs. No, what was the other one? Yeah, anything else just looks out of place. So we'll go with that one. So we grab the dude. And we go. Now that looks right. So then we just put it on the lead tile. And we make that invisible. How's that look?
That looks good. It looks, yes, he's staring pensively out to the ocean. On
Yeah.
his
Looks amazing.
Yeah, the individual pose, that one's not bad.
I like that one. Yeah.
I might eventually make something of it. Yeah, I'm not as, out of habit, I don't do a lot of family-friendly poses, but, I've already got 3 done, so maybe do 20, 30 more, and got myself a pose box. So we just save that as it is. Okay, so now, how do we correct this?
Would you go into the Rio pose that you saved?
Yes. There we go. That one. Well, that is a pain. Oh, no, that's not going to work. Oh, okay. Got it. I think
So, what did you do?
I haven't done it yet, but
Oh,
I need to make this into an actual template. But because the other group is also named Rio, we need to change the name of this. And then we just go back to the raw Rio template, go out of animation mode, so now we've got Rio and not Rio. And I'll try to explain what I'm doing. So what we need to do here, we grab not Rio. This is the one that's uh, approximately the original position, and then we move this, the entire object. We just scoot it down to where, and I'm going by the butt. So because because that's where the translation joint would be approximately. We didn't rotate this at all. So yeah, that's where the translation joint is going to be. So that we go over and we delete from the template and we just export this. Again as couple one after we've repositioned it. We don't save because we might need this template later. Then we go to the couple pose. Bring this in. So we've got the one called not Rio. And and how do I do this? So if I do that, yeah, you see, translation joint is right there. So the translation joint hasn't moved at all. Okay, let me. So the one called not Rio, we're going to select that and we assign it to the translation. So then we pop back into animation mode and we should be able to move it. So we go to we select the translation joint. Haha! So there, we just scoot her to about the right position. That was touching the head, right? So it needs to be like her hand needs to be right up against his head. Okay, that's just a little too far in. Let's isolate it so we're not okay. Right about there. It's kind of a janky fix. I mean, if because I'm such a perfectionist, if I had the time and this weren't just a test pose, I would completely remake the pose that's messed up.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just remake it. Jason, would it work if you just move the original pose in the rotate again, just the wrong choice, move it to the not real, and then use the trans and then move it back up? So use the wrong method again to bring it back down, and then use the right trans to go back up. Would that work?
Hang on. Let's give this one a different name and find out. So go back to the. So you're saying go back to the original pose.
Yeah, bring in the original pose and the real, not real template you made. Okay,
Okay.
animate. Yeah. Okay. So now the yellow one is the correct one, right? Use the rotate. You moved it with the rotate. That's the wrong way.
So
Move it
grab
back to
grab the
where the
rotate joint and move it back
yeah.
down.
Move it back to where the not real is.
See if I can get it a little bit more exact. You can put it right on top of the translate. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
I think that's about as good as it gets. Okay, so then grab the translate and move that.
Yeah. So now you use the correct option. You
Yeah,
corrected it with the wrong option, yeah, and then you move. Yeah, there we go.
that might be a little bit more accurate even. But okay, let's hide not real because that's getting in the way. Okay, well, yeah, let's use this method and see what happens. This might actually work a little bit better.
I think we maybe lost everyone, but let's see if it works.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on, but
Yeah,
I'm just
I
watching.
thought
I'm
so.
just
We confused you guys.
I'm trying to correct this pose. So you can see the like before the translate was in the original position, it was somewhere in
Mhm.
the middle here. So now you can see that the translate joint is way up here.
What makes it the translate joint, I guess? Is it the like long yellow line?
But
Or
it's the okay, so you have a joint hierarchy, right? You have the AU scale. This is the absolute center. You
okay.
don't want to mess with that one. You leave it there. The next one down from the AU scale is the translate joint.
Mhm.
That is the one that actually moves the sim into position, and that goes above all of the rotate joints.
Okay. So you pulled that up with the trans.
Yep. I
Okay.
well I'm because I messed up the original post, so I moved the rotate joint back to the original position and then moved the translate joint. Does that make any sense?
I guess I don't know the difference between rotate joint and trans joint because like I know in the joints section there's a trans
Okay.
and then you're saying the rotate joints under that
Yes.
or raw.
So this is your root rotate joint. So like that
Uh-huh.
spins the entire body. A joint can do one of two things, but not both. It can rotate. I mean that's pretty self-explanatory. Or it can translate. So imagine if you're opening a drawer, it doesn't rotate, it just slides in and out.
Uh-huh.
That's what a translate joint does. It moves but it doesn't rotate.
Okay. Oh, okay. So like when I'm doing poses, I'll use the trans to like bring the body down to the baseline because
Yeah.
before this I didn't really know how to do posing on furniture, so I would just put them at the ground level and then use like a shiftable MSP to shift them wherever they needed to be, kind of
Okay,
thing.
yeah. No, if you wanted to pose a sim on the ground, yeah, the easiest way to achieve that will be to move the translate joint. So
Hmm.
we're going
Okay.
real on shoulders. We just overwrite the old pose because I don't want to do anything fancy. We're going to save that template, and then we jump back over to here. Go to the animations. We select Rio on shoulders. Now check this out. So if you already have an animation, you don't need to re-import it. You go right click, replace. And then we grab Rio on shoulders. Just yes, and we're good to go. Now while we're here, let's have a look at this stop all poses. What was your question, Zenin?
Actually, from the beginning, how do you create it? How does it actually work that it stops every one of them?
Okay.
You know, the green arrows. How does it actually work? Because I know that it searches for all of them and then it stops the one you need.
Okay, so is it if you look at any other pose box with a simple stop command, it's this one. Your opcode is 06C, and that's animate stop. That's
Yeah.
it's different for an actual animation, but this is a static pose overlay. So animate stop 06C. So then we tell it, like in this case, instead of just, if you only wanted to do this one, you would delete everything else and then have the true target here return true. That would stop
Mm-hmm.
just that pose. But because it frustrates me to no end to have to go through the entire menu and stop every single pose until I hit the right one. Uh, I'm essentially stringing the same command line together.
Hmm.
So instead of just having it return true, like, hang on, I'll scroll down to the end to see. So this is what a single one looks like. So we just have the call to animate stop, the the line that links directly to your the line in your str that names the animation. So it's telling it what to stop, and it's telling it whether it's flipped or not. So if you essentially you can mirror an anim by flipping the flag. So this one can stop regular, stop mirrored, or stop both. It's handy if you have a bunch of, like, you have a bunch of mirrored poses or overlays. You can just stop this, and you don't have to figure out which side it's on. It will stop anything that
All of them.
references the name of that pose.
Your overlays would stay intact in that case.
No, they wouldn't. I mean, anything named, like swing baseball bat right arm. So if it's flipped, it would put the overlay on the left arm. But if you stop the pose, it would stop, and you have it set up to stop all. It would stop either right or left arm.
Well, I mean, like if you're using overlays from another pose box and you put stop all on like this one, it only stops whatever it's looking for that you used on this pose box. Or am
Okay,
I not
yes,
getting that?
yes, that's correct. Because
Okay.
because the text strings will be local to that pose box, so it's like it
Okay.
can't actually see those. I
So
don't know if
this
that
would be
makes sense.
handy for like previewing overlays on different poses without like if you have like overlays on different pose boxes you're adding to a pose instead of the
Right,
reset or the snap reset
yeah,
which
you
just gets
just
rid of everything.
you just so, like, you play one, and then, no, I don't like that one, stop this pose, and then what does pose 2 do, and then we play that one, and no, let's see what pose 3 does. Yeah, it's handy if you're previewing a whole bunch of poses from the same box. So
Okay.
you don't have to remember, okay, did I play pose 7 or pose 12?
Mhm.
So
Okay.
what do we change for the other ones? Just the true target?
Well, let me look at that. We have, okay, so we have, okay, this is the line of the anim. This is, what does this operand do? I forget. So if we change that to a 0, what changes? Okay, so if the value is 4-2, it says both normal and flipped false. Or no, with 0-2, it's both normal and flipped false. But if we change it to 4-2, it becomes both normal and flipped true. So if you only wanted to stop on one
Mm.
side, you would set that third operand box to 0-2.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
But above that, the true target, you're at the last one, so it says return true. What does it say for all the upper ones?
Well, I mean, essentially it's saying, Okay, for example, this command line, if true, go to line 92. If false, return error.
Mm.
That's Java script kind of stuff, like
Yeah,
coding. Okay.
it's not it seems like a lot if you're not familiar with behaves, but it honestly isn't. And
But
I mean,
in the
this is
box,
a postbox template, so you don't even have to code it yourself. It's already set up.
yeah. No, I mean in the operands where the operands boxes are, right? The true target drop down above it. What does it say? Un
Like on this one,
unclear for me. No, no,
it's
no. Yeah, right there, right there.
okay. It's telling you to go to 91. The value is
Ah, I see.
0x0091.
But that's where normally it says true, right? Something but true.
Yeah, it would either move to the next line or return true.
Ah, I see. Yes, thank you.
No problem. So we good there?
No.
Okay. Okay, this is it. So just jump forward, paste over, and I'm going to get my fraps going because I want to take a screenshot of that because it looks nice. And after we close this one out, remind me which things you needed links for, and I will get those up in the workshop thread. If I remember correctly, there was the summer dress, the posing tutorial, and the 10 more slot package. Rachel, are there any other comments, questions in the chat?
But instead, her headphones are to do so she's gonna just text from now on.
Okay,
But
no problem.
there's no questions.
All right. And it's just a lot of dead air. You know what I mean? Ah, there it goes. That didn't take too long. I was here. Yeah, I just set up this hood, so I keep forgetting where it is. There it goes.
Now that's a lovely sight.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna give him a facial expression this time.
Which box is that?
It's the tutorial post box. It's the one it's in the workshop thread.
Oh, and it has facial overlays?
Yeah. Let's just do
That's
happy.
awesome.
And yeah, I basically I use a template for everything, so so all of my post boxes have face overlays. Yeah, just give him just put something on his face so he's not doing that 1,000-yard stare.
And into the ocean.
That creeps me out.
Now he's like, I see a dolphin. I don't know.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, so stop that. We just grabbed the whole thing. I think she's actually on another one. So we don't need that one. So now
There she go.
there it is. Yeah,
It,
that worked out
it worked.
perfectly. Good call, vetted. And let's give her an expression too. Let's go embarrassed smile. And then don't need that one, and we'll move that one out of the frame. Do a quarter tile. He's running right along the beach. Oh, because he's... Oh, no. She's still way too low.
Venom said you didn't line her up with not Rio exactly, so she may clip. Well, now he can't speak, so.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Okay, yeah, her. See, her thighs are clipping into his shoulders. Okay, so that didn't work as planned. It's
Got up
always
there.
something. We always have some kind of issue with... So if we just go... No, we need the Y. We don't need it to move on the Z because she's good. So if we just go about that much, and I'm just estimating here. And then we go up here. So did I modify that? Yes. No, it doesn't have the right timestamp on it. Let's try it once more. Okay, that way I know for sure that I overwrote it. Okay, one more time. Yeah, and this is not atypical of pose boxes. Sometimes you have to
Angle.
rearticulate and then retest and then rearticulate and then retest, and it's even if it looks correct in Milkshop, it's still a lot, or in Milkshape, it's still a lot of trial and error.
Well, it's good that you're previewing it and I'll just be like, here you go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I've really tried to. If I'm going to release something under my name, I want to make sure that
Yeah.
it meets my quality standards first, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
For personal use, anything goes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I do.
Yeah. No, if I already
That's
have
why
it
I
for
never
personal
released.
use and I do want to
That's why
release
I
it, then
never
I just
released any of my poses. Yeah, that's why I never released any of my poses, and I have a lot of
Oh
them.
yeah.
But they aren't for the public. There's always something that's not in the right place, too high, too low, an elbow that's completely twisted.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I never released. I would like to one day when I get better at it.
yeah,
I'm just
well,
like, I'll take your poses. I'll make them work.
if you need
Well,
pointers
with
or
Photoshop you can.
Yeah, yeah, I'll Photoshop. Like, the other day when I
But
photoshopped her hand back.
Harmful. If you want any of mine, you just only have to ask. Really, just tell me which, and I'll send it to you. If
I'll
you
look through
can
your
get it on,
picture.
oh, I loaded the
if you
wrong
can get
hoe.
it on a box, it's all yours.
Yeah, if you need help, if you need pointers, or if the tutorial doesn't make sense to you, just hit me up. I'm never too far from my keyboard. I do sleep occasionally, but other than that, this should work. We only have to nudge it a little bit, but sometimes, there is a possibility that you overshoot by a little bit, or it's not quite enough, and that's where fine tuning comes in.
I do like fine tuning overlays.
Yeah,
Like, they can help out in some of those.
Yeah, but if it's my personal pose, I prefer to release the finished product, not release something that doesn't quite work and then the end user has to mess with it.
That makes sense.
Well, it's not perfect, but
Eh, she has her hands in front of his face. You can't see anymore.
yeah, I'm not happy with his one hand, but hang on, let me if you do some creative angles.
Yep. Creative angles, another trick of picture taking.
No, see, she's way low still. Her hands are good. Well, not quite because he can still see over them, but let me frame it just so. It's not perfect, but it does drive home the theme of the workshop, which is essentially you're using one sim as a template to make the other sim, so you can make correctly articulated couple poses. And that is good enough for government work.